The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock, and when we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we're here every Friday at 3. If you happen to miss my show, you can catch me on Apple or Spotify at the Main Street Code, or themainstreetcode.com. or 631-647-4694. And today I'm very fortunate to have with me my friend and one of my advisors on Medicare, Scott Lewis. Say hello.
Good morning, Neil. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, we'd always talk about building a team of professionals, and one of the guys, the guy I use for my family is Scott Lewis. And Scott has kept me, I just got my Medicare card, so I'm very excited.
Sweet.
You know, I don't know if that means I should be thinking about retirement or thinking, but it gave me a lot of pause because there's all these choices out there, and you keep hearing on the radio, Medicare enrollment, don't miss it, whoa, whoa, whoa. And plus, it's my time anyhow. So with all that, I'm hearing about Advantage plans, I'm hearing about supplements. Tell me what the difference is in all these plans. And there's some other ones that I know about that we're going to talk about too, but...
Well, first of all, I'm sure that you started planning retirement long before just now.
Yes, of course I did. Yes.
But what you're really hearing about on the radio, on TV is you're getting blasted with Advantage plans. They want you to do everything through them. They want to take over your health insurance, basically. So what it is, it's original Part A and Part B. And what now happens is the insurance company, which is a private insurance company, gets paid by the government.
Well, go backwards a second. What's Part A and Part B? You have to
Got it. Part A and Part B is original Medicare. Part A is your hospitalization.
Right.
And which is free provided you've worked 40 quarters or 10 years.
Right.
Of paying taxes. And Part B is your doctor visits and things of that nature and some other medical.
And you have to pay for Part B.
You're going to pay for Part B based on a sliding scale based on your income 2 years prior.
Right.
So people retiring sometimes forget that if they earned a lot of money 2 years ago and all of a sudden now their income is going to go down in retirement, IRMA, who is the government branch that runs Part B, that bills you, they're going to be pulling your tax return from 2 years ago, and that's how they're going to determine what your premium is going to be when you start Medicare. A lot of people don't realize that you can't appeal that if your income has gone down.
Okay. Interesting.
That's one of the things that
Mine only goes up, so I don't know what to do. So.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
If you're making more, you're going to pay a little bit more.
Yeah, I get it.
There's good and there's bad.
What are you going to do?
But
anyhow, but you have to have Part B, right? What if you don't sign up for all this?
You don't have to have Part B.
Right.
But if you don't have Part B when you become eligible and you don't have other credible coverage, when you decide that you want to sign up for Part B, you can find that you're going to have a lifetime penalty for the rest of your life every single year.
The rest of my life?
For the rest of your life, yeah.
That's a long time.
It could be,
yeah,
depending on who you are.
Right.
And depends on your longevity. Okay. Same thing with Part D, which is your drugs. If you don't sign up for, a lot of people tell me they don't take any medications. Why do they need Part D?
Right.
you need Part D because if you don't take it now and you go on Medicare and you get a supplement, let's say, but you don't take drugs, you don't want a drug plan, well, then you're going to pay a penalty when you decide that you do need medication.
Right.
Insurance isn't for the now, it's for the what ifs.
Right, of course.
So you sell life, disability, and everything else. It's for the what ifs. You have to have it just in case.
Right. So, okay. So I got Part A and Part B.
You got Part A.
Now it's Medicare enrollment. I have my choice.
Mm-hmm.
I can get what they call an advantage plan or what they call a supplement. Mm-hmm. So tell me what the differences are and tell me what they're saying on TV. They're telling me it's free, it's this, it's that, and I'm like all confused.
Okay, keep in mind when...
Actually, I'm not, but
I know you're not because I've educated you.
Yes.
So advantage plans can have a zero premium or they can have a couple $100 premium. There are some of the newer plans now are called PPOs. And what you get with those is you get the opportunity to go out of network. But you're still going to have some type of, if you should get sick, some kind of maximum out of pocket like you might experience now with your traditional health insurance.
Right.
Could be $3,000, could be $5,000, could be $7,000. Depends on the plan that you've chosen.
Okay.
And the way you get to those expenditures is different with the plans.
Gotcha.
You're going to have some plans don't have a zero copay for primary care and a $45 copay for a specialist. If you should go out of network, if it's a PPO, you're going to pay a little bit more.
Now, just sticking with the advantage plans, I know why they're an advantage. I know why they're a disadvantage. But I want to talk about why. I know they call them advantage plans because they may come. You might think it's free, but I understand in the state of New York, which is why I don't handle Medicare supplements. To be quite honest with you, you have to get licensed with every separate company, but some people don't. Some people just get licensed with a couple of companies. And I don't know if that's the right thing because if you really want to do a fair and honest estimate, you need to be licensed with all the companies, correct?
Okay, so yes and no.
Okay.
I am not licensed with all of the companies.
All right.
But there's something called HIPAA.
Right.
Or and every year, if you want to sell the Advantage plans and Part Ds and those products, you have to qualify through the state with something called a HIPAA test or a HIP. Okay, and it's not that easy an exam. Most people don't pass it the first time they take it. It gets easier every year you're in the business because you know the questions, you know the answers.
Wait a minute, this is not an exam for the client. This is an exam for the insurance person.
This is an exam for the agent or the broker.
Okay.
Aside from that national plan or government plan, you also have to pass tests for every carrier that you're going to be contracted with.
Right.
Now, for me, I only sell in New York right now.
Right.
Okay. I have people that I work with, associates that I work with that are licensed in other areas.
Right.
That I'll refer them the business if it's outside of New York.
So as a consumer, if I'm shopping and we're going to get into the advantage, but I really want to get in details here. That's why I have you, because you're my expert. So if I'm shopping, how do I know what the best, let's say I determine maybe I want an advantage plan because I don't want to have a copay and that might be, I don't want to have an out-of-pocket expense every month. You will have out-of-pocket expenses anytime you go to doc. There's no free rides. But there's no, I understand that, but there's no premium, let's say. So I'm really attracted to these TV ads and there's no premium. So I want to buy one of those things.
Neil, be careful. You get what you pay for.
I understand that. Okay, and we're going to get into that. Mm-hmm. My question is, how do I know which one?
That's why you want to use a broker. A lot of people come to me and they go, I called AARP. Well, that's great. Who is AARP? They sell insurance. AARP is a marketing firm that has a deal with United Healthcare for exclusive rights to sell the United Medicare product. Personally, I don't know how that's allowed, because you have to be a member of AARP in order to buy a United Healthcare plan.
Right.
But let's not get into politics.
Okay.
So when somebody comes to me, what we do is we gather information. Need to know their doctors if they want to go to the Advantage plan route. Need to know all their medications.
Now, the Advantage plan typically uses a network of doctors.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that network of doctors will take that Advantage plan.
Yes.
I may or may not be able to go out of network, as you were describing before.
If it was an HMO, yeah, could be an HMO.
Depending on the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, what happens if I'm traveling and visiting my kids, in Florida or in Denver or Hawaii, wherever?
So the biggest difference between your Advantage plans and your supplemental plans.
Right.
If you want total freedom of choice and of travel, your supplemental plans are going to give you just that.
Okay.
You can go anywhere that anybody takes Medicare.
So let's say I decide I'm going to buy this Advantage plan and I'm visiting one of my children. I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Do you have an HMO or PPO?
I'm saying, let's say I bought an Advantage plan,
An HMO?
regular HMO plan.
Okay.
And I'm visiting my son in Denver and I get sick and I need to go, or I fall off the mountain, I need to go to the hospital. What happens then?
You have emergency coverage.
Okay.
But that's it. And it's got to be a true emergency.
Okay. So it's not an emergency. I'm just feeling sick. I'm just throwing up. I don't know what's going on.
You're going to pay for your expenses because you have no coverage there.
That's scary to me.
Remember, Advantage plans are regional plans. They're based on zip code.
Okay. So that's a thing to consider then.
They don't always travel well. If you're a
Okay.
snowbird or a snowflake and you're going back and forth to Florida or Arizona or wherever you might have a summer home or a winter home, it's very important to think about that.
Right. So what if I have a PPO plan?
Okay, in a PPO plan, you're going to go out of network if you're out of your state or out of your regional area, but you're going to pay a little bit more to see an out-of-network doctor. So, for instance, you break an arm, let's say.
Right.
You want to go to an orthopedist. Let's say your copay was $45, for instance.
Right.
That's in network. If you go out of network, it might be a little bit more, and you might have some extra expenses as well.
So if it happens to me in Denver, what happens?
Exactly what I just said. You're going to go see either
okay.
You're not going to want to go to an ER. I mean, you could go to an ER.
Right.
Because you have out-of-network coverage.
Gotcha.
You're just going to pay a little bit more.
Right. You've been listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. And Scott, how can they get a hold of you to find out more about Medicare plans? It is open enrollment and season is here now. And you'll explain that in a minute, but how do they get a hold of you?
516-428-6214. And the AEP, or the annual enrollment period, is over on December 7th.
And we're going to talk about that right after the break. You're listening to Main Street Code for Financial Success, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I can always be reached at 631-647-4694, and I have with me my friend Scott Lewis, who's an expert on Medicare, and I thought it was very time sensitive that Scott comes in at this time because I keep hearing on TV and radio, it's open enrollment season. What does that mean, open enrollment?
It's annual enrollment. Annual enrollment is from October 15th to December 7th. If you have an Advantage plan or a Part D plan with a supplement, now is the time to change that plan for January 1st.
Why do I want to change my plan?
Things change. Listen, Advantage plans are one-year contracts.
Okay.
What that means is doctors can drop in and drop out of that plan during the year.
Right.
The insurance company can decide sometime during the year that plan is no longer a good money-making product for them, and they can drop it, which means now you're back to square one. You have to go find a new plan for the following year.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And that happens quite often, doesn't it?
It depends. I won't say quite often, but it does happen. Now, the other thing you have to remember with Advantage plans is the insurance company is really going to be managing your health. You're going to need a lot more pre-certifications. They don't always get approved the first time around.
Right.
And I get a lot of phone calls about that from people that are on Advantage plans. I want to know why.
They buy Advantage plans, and this happened to a neighbor of mine. She came over to me and was complaining the other day. I think she has breast cancer, and she was having trouble getting a doctor's appointment.
Yep.
And she had a 1 month wait. Or, and somebody else I know, my brother up in Connecticut, had a similar situation. He's on some sort of Advantage plan in Connecticut, and they thought he might have he had an adverse test result, and it took 2 months to get for them to follow up on something that could potentially be cancer. So I don't know if it's to my advantage to necessarily have an Advantage plan, although there's no copay with a lot of these plans. I mean, they're not copay. There's no monthly premium payment. But with that comes limited amount of people I could see, unlimited doctors, and they may be busy and, may not get an appointment. And I could have waiting time for pre-approval. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Neil, you could pay now or you could pay later.
Right. So let's talk about supplement plans. That's the other major types of plans. And there's variations in between we're going to talk about if we have time.
Supplement plans go by the letter of the alphabets. You got F and C, which are no longer available to people that are born after a certain year, 1954. Those plans basically had no deductibles. They had no co-pays. They're not selling those anymore.
Right.
Plan G now is the Cadillac of the plans that are available for people born after 1954.
Plan G, I gotcha.
Okay, Plan G. And that has a deductible, but it has no co-pays.
Gotcha.
Then you have Plan N. That has the same deductible as G, but it has not more than maybe a $20 copay for any office visits after your deductible's met.
Right.
But there's about a $60 or $70 difference in premium between those two plans.
Right. Very confusing.
Then they have K, they have L, and a whole mess of other numbers. They got F plus. And in New York is very different than the other states.
Right.
So, for instance, I'll have people ask, I do a lot of networking. I have people say, my friend has this, and they pay this. And I go, well, where do they live? And they tell me they live in Connecticut. Well, Connecticut is different than New Jersey, and New Jersey is different than New York.
No, I know my friend from New Jersey's been calling me every other day, and I'm like, you got to talk to Scott.
Look, the end plan in New Jersey is half the price it is in New York.
I know that.
So if you live in New Jersey, I know we had this conversation. So if you live in New Jersey and you want an end plan, you know what? You're much better off.
I agree.
Than buying it in New York.
Great.
I have a lot of clients that move from New York to Florida, and the one thing that I tell them, because most of my clients do buy supplements, I tell them, check the rate in your zip code, because you don't have to change your plan as far as the supplement goes. It's where you bought it. So if the premium in Florida is more than the premium in New York, stick with your plan. If it's less, switch it and pay the lower premium.
Right.
You do have to switch your Part D, though, under your new zip code.
And the Part D is your drug card.
Your drug card.
So the Part D does not automatically come with your supplement or your Advantage plan, correct?
It does not come with your supplement. If you buy an Advantage Plan C, then that's going to include your drug card.
It's so confusing. B, C, D. It's crazy. When I first got into the business, I was licensed to sell. I started in the state of Connecticut, and I was doing health insurance there. And I was able to sell Medicare. And I'd look through the book with a client, and I'm looking through this book. I go, how the hell do seniors understand this?
It's very difficult.
I couldn't understand it, and I was a trained insurance professional. I'm going, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, this is 80%, 29, all these numbers, very confusing, which is why I recommend you don't buy from the TV. You call Scott Lewis and let him explain it to you. Let him go through the steps of this is what you need, this is what you get, and this is why I'm going to give you choice of different options, because depending on your budget, depending on your doctors, depending on what your needs are, you need to go to an expert, not call 1-800, go on TV and buy Medicare.
And what's the difference between working with a broker or calling AARP or calling Aetna or Humana or any of the other companies that are out there that are advertising on TV? Well, the difference is if you call AARP, and I'm not knocking them, but they're only going to show you an AARP product.
Correct.
So, for instance, let's say you call them up for a supplement. Great. So you buy the supplement. Now you want to talk to them about a drug card. Great. They're going to show you one of 3 products that AARP carries. They're not going to show you any of the other carriers.
Right.
Okay, that's a huge difference for people. Same thing if you call any of the companies for a supplement. They're going to talk to you about their 4 or 5 products that they have in an Advantage plan. They're not even going to talk to you about supplements because they're not even competitive probably in New York.
Right, and that's a big thing. You mentioned something before about zip code. You want to talk to somebody that lives near you or works your area. not 1-800 number. They're in the middle of nowhere, and they don't know your they don't know the networks, they don't know the hospitals, they don't know. They know charts. They can look up on computers.
It's all online. Everything's online for us. We
but
can gather information.
even
but
still,
you want to talk to a local broker or agent that's going to set you up with the right plan for you. Okay?
Correct.
It's, you know what? You can't fit a square peg in a round hole and vice versa. So you have to make sure that, as a broker, I have to make sure that I know what the client wants.
Right.
And lay it out. I educate my clients so that they can make the right decision. I don't tell them what to buy.
Right.
I show them what their options are so that they can feel good about what they're buying. Hey, granted, some people call me every year because of all these commercials on TV.
Of course.
Even though we've gone through all the steps before enrollment.
Okay. That's okay.
But
you welcome those calls.
Remember, listen, they're seniors. We forget.
It's not only that. I started as soon as the computers knew that I was turning 65. I'm getting mailers every single day. One of the good things I got in a mailer, and I kind of look through the stuff before I throw it out, is any company offering a plan has to give you this whole chart and lays it out. This is what A, B, C, D, E. If you can't sleep at night and you want to read that chart, go for it.
That'll keep you up because it's so confusing.
Well, the idea is you want to talk to a professional and say, hey,
correct.
What is it? What do I need? But the point is, they lay it out, but it's pretty complex. It's and it's a shame. So now, how does an insurance company that's offering an Advantage plan? I'm not killing Advantage plan, but how do they make money if they don't charge any money for the plan?
So every time an insurance company signs somebody up for an Advantage plan, they get a VIG, or they get a lump sum, they get a monthly stipend from the government for keeping that person enrolled in the plan. Now listen, Advantage plans generate a lot more commission for agents, 2 to 2.5 times, sometimes 3 times more commission for agents. Medicare agents, for some reason, do not have to be transparent about what they make every time they sign you up.
Right.
But when you run into Medicare agents, they're always pushing Advantage plans. It's not always the right product. Sometimes it can be a disadvantage. You really need to do your homework.
And that's why we're here today. And thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. How can they get a hold of you if they have Medicare questions? What's your number?
516-428-6214.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I really, this is very enlightening. I mean, there's some other options out there that, boy, if we had more time, we could go through some of the things we're doing on the group side. And we talked about.
Some companies offer
another plan
on the group.
Understand. You're listening to the Main Street Code. You can reach me every Friday. Give me a call, 631-647-4694. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Neil.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Me.
Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.